I want to go ahead and jump to the major assignments for this class. So in addition to the midterm, you have the Nerdy Hip Hop Review, which is 20% of your grade. So what this is you take your favorite artist or album, a song, a theme that you see in hip hop that you're like, yo, I really want to think about this a bit further. This would be the assignment to do that, right? So it's more than, oh, this is a good song, this is a good album, I really like this artist. I need you to actually tear apart the layers and get at what is it about this particular artist or album or whatever in hip hop that demands more critical engagement and helps us to understand the purpose of this type of expression in hip hop and what that means in terms of race, identity, or gender, right? So I give you the full disclosure on the syllabus, but some of the questions that I'm really looking for you to break down are, you know, what problem or observation or concern that you're addressing, which theoretical framework, critical framework are you using to think through, you know, not only your fandom, right? And for some of us being a stan, I understand, but thinking about the critical ways that you're building your scholarship about this particular topic, because your voice is necessary, right? Like, we need new directions in hip hop culture study to talk about the changes and the shifts and the turns that have been discussed. So that's what the Nerdy Hip Hop Review does. So that's 1,000 words. You need a minimum of 3 outside peer review sources. If you're not familiar with the term peer review, that means that you find sources that have been critiqued, approved, and ran through by experts in the field, right? One of those sources needs to be a book outside of the course reading. So, you know, to help you out, I gave you a list of recommended hip hop culture readings that might be useful to you for this particular assignment, as well as for the Cypher project. So, you know, the other basic stuff is in MLA format, right? And then also make sure that you demonstrate the mastery of the topic. I really want to hear what you have to say. Don't submit a review that you think I want to read, right? School me on something. Teach me something, okay? So that's what I'm looking for the Nerdy Hip Hop Review. The midterm is, you know, a standard midterm. You will have one essay question. What I normally do for students is I give you maybe 5 or 6 essay prep questions the week before. We discuss them in class during a midterm review. And then on the midterm, of those 5 or 6 questions that I give you 3 of the questions, and of the 3 questions, you pick one. So it's like 5, 3, 1. Right? So I expect the essay to be, you know, just shocking, blowing me away because you had a week to prep, okay? So makeup exams are given at my discretion, so make sure that you stay on top of deadlines and know when everything is due, and you should be able to do that because it'll be on the course calendar as well as on the syllabus, okay? Now for the dope part. All right, so what I wanted to do this semester was shake it up a little bit because, for one, I really don't want to sit there and grade 27, 30 essays. Not saying that you don't know how to write, but I wanted to find a way to engage students in an alternative format that speaks to the spirit of this course, which is thinking about alternative ways to talk about hip-hop as a critical framework, right? So one of the things that I wanted to do is utilize social media, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, right? So this part of your grade, the hip hop video Cypher project, is your use of YouTube to give me a audio visual essay, which means that we're playing around with the idea of the cypher, right? And for those of you that aren't familiar, in hip hop, the cypher is where you have a meeting of the minds. It's where MCs engage the audience and each other. It's like a battle of the minds, a tit for tat. So what you're going to do is you're going to upload a video to our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel, right? Upload the video to the YouTube channel, and then you all will engage each other via video message, or you can use the comment section. In addition to, you know, uploading your own Cypher project. But I mean, when you do the peer response, which is a requirement for this assignment, you can either do another video or you can do a write-up in the comment section, and that'll count, right? But I think this will be really dope because this gives you an opportunity to really think outside the box and think about how you are a consumer of hip-hop culture and how that plays out in terms of how we understand social media and its purpose in hip-hop, right? I mean, like, over the last, you know, 1 or 2 years, some of the biggest things that have happened in hip-hop are because of social media, right? Twitter, YouTube, whatevs. So I really think this will be a really exciting project as long as you kind of put a little bit of time and effort into it. So a couple of the key requirements for this assignment is your video should be about 3 to 5 minutes, a maximum of 6 minutes, which means that you just can't get on YouTube and say, oh, I want to talk about blah, blah, blah. It needs to be precise, it needs to be succinct, and it needs to be to the point, okay? Your video should be clear and easy to view, so that means that I should be able to clearly hear you as well as see you. You will be deducted for sloppy video entries, okay? Speak slowly and with diction. You will be excited about your project. You will be excited and probably nervous about recording yourself, but make sure that you speak so that we can understand your brilliance, okay? And also, the same thing as the Nerdy Hip Hop Review, make sure that you at least reference 3 peer-reviewed sources to support your discussion. Okay, I am not a fan of Wikipedia, so do not use wiki anything. Okay, it's the devil as one of your peer-reviewed sources. Okay, because it's not peer-reviewed. But you know, if you need it to help you jumpstart your ideas about some stuff, or even look at the references at the end of the wiki page, that's fine. But do not use wiki itself. You will be deducted 15 points off rip. Okay. So, you know, be creative, but also demonstrate that you have been critically engaging the topic, right? Remember that you're the expert. You're schooling us, okay? So if I'm listening to you, make me think like, yeah, that's really interesting, or no, I might not agree with that, but still make me critically engage you in a way that demonstrates that I'm aware of your awareness of the topics being discussed, right? Last but not least, you know, it's okay to look at paper every once in a while, but if your head is down the entire, 3-5 minutes, then I would suggest, you know, reworking that assignment. We will actually want to see you and actually see you excited about your topic. So make sure that you give us a little bit of FaceTime and look into the camera every once in a while, okay? And then finally, for the response part, you're required to respond to 3 of your peers. So remember I told you can do that via video, or you can do that in a written format. Either one is fine. I think the video would be a lot more fun. But make sure that you actually engage the person that you're responding to. Don't be a troll. And if you're not familiar with social media, trolls, those people that kind of come out of nowhere and all they do is talk about their opinions, and very rarely does it have anything to do with what they're talking about or responding to. So be critical, but don't be an ass, okay? So actually engage them, but still, you know, be thoughtful and respectful to what the speaker of the video is saying, okay? So all of that information is really easy. You go to YouTube. We have a login account. All of that information is on the syllabus. Upload your video. If you're one of those, you know, technologically savvy and brilliant folks, if you want to record the video on your smartphone and upload it, you can email it to the site. That email is located on the syllabus and all that good stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much all the big parts that I want to hit from the syllabus. Oh, once again, if you're not familiar with hip hop, or you feel like you don't have anything to contribute because you don't really engage hip hop on a regular basis, I encourage you to stay. We need you to stay, right? You don't have to be a hip hop expert. You probably will be by the time you're finished with this class, but you don't have to be a hip hop expert to stay and engage us with your critical analysis. We need you. As a matter of fact, we might need you a little bit more because you might have more of an objective opinion than those of us who do consume hip hop on a regular basis. So really consider staying and engaging us with your brilliance. We would really, really appreciate that, right? And then last but certainly not least, the tone and language in this course will not be sugar-coated, right? I'm going to intentionally try to provoke you to think about things from outside of your comfort zone, right? So I'm not attacking your personal beliefs. I'm not attacking your character. I'm trying to get you to think about things from a viewpoint other than your own, which is what true scholars do. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to utilize. And then again, if there's anything that you want to discuss about the course, or there's some things that you might be concerned about, please feel free to email me or grab me after class or during our break or whatever, and I'll be more than happy to address any concerns that you have, right? So I'll talk to you about the syllabus. I'll talk to you about the expectations. I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about you know, what's left in terms of, you know, hip hop, right? When we think about hip hop, what comes to mind for you? Some people automatically go to rap. Other people, they're like, oh, it's hip hop. You know, they think about it as this kind of like hyper commodified space. And what that means is it's the hyper commodity is profitable, right? Like you profit off of it. But what I want to get us to do is to engage it as a critical space to think about some of these things that we see and consume on a daily basis, right? So what I want to do is kind of start you off with a little bit of a primer, even for those of you that are familiar with hip hop culture, which is dope, to give you a little bit of a primer in terms of what I expect, right? Okay, so the first part of that would be, there's 5 pillars of hip hop culture. Did you know that? There's 5 pillars. So, you have DJing, MCing, graffiti art, breakdancing. I just lost my train of thought. DJing, MCing, graffiti dancing, breakdancing, and then knowledge of self, right? Even the best professors, we messed up too. So, these pillars of hip hop that kind of indicate to us what it is that we're looking for in terms of how we construct hip hop culture. But other aspects are starting to influence what we understand that culture to be, right? I mean, like when hip hop first started in the late 70s, early 80s, you had the focus on the DJ. You had the focus on breakdancing. You had this focus on graffiti. But then when it crossed over, arguably about 1986-ish, right, with Run DMC and Aerosmith with Walk This Way, then you have this introduction of profitability and capitalism that makes certain aspects of hip hop culture more prevalent than others. So that's when you have MCing kind of be to the forefront, right? And then it's like, oh, hip hop culture automatically associates rap music, which is problematic because that's not the entirety of the culture. But it's interesting because hip hop, even though it's the most commodified idea or commodified representation of Black identity in the U.S., it's also a way to think about how American hip hop is and how it's been consumed over the last 10, 20 years, right? You have like these moments of crossover. So if 1986 is arguably one of your crossover moments, then you also have crossover moments, possibly in 99 with Eminem, right? When he comes out with the Marshall Mathers LP. And then you might have another moment in 2008 with President Barack Obama being president. He's using hip hop as part of his political campaign, right? Like he does little things like, brush your shoulders off. And he does things like, you have hip hop artists like Diddy coming with Vote or Die, even though Vote or Die was around in the 2004 election, but it really popped off in 2008, right? And you have folks like Luda who are doing diss raps about, Hillary Clinton in support of Obama. And you have, of course, probably the most played out song now with Young Jeezy, and My President is Black. They played that into the ground. If I never hear that again, it'll be too soon. You know what I'm saying? But you have like this fusion of hip hop, not only as a Black folks thing, which it is a Black folks thing, but also as an American thing, also as a youth thing. So it's really interesting to see how we can use hip hop to pinpoint these shifting dynamics in American culture and American pop culture, and how it's useful and how it's not. So that's what we're doing in this course, right? And I'm really, really excited to engage you all with that. So if you're watching this today, you have 2 assignments due tonight, which it would be January 10th. If you're not watching it on the 10th, you still have assignments due on January the 10th. The first assignment is to do the pre-assessment quiz, which is up on D2L, and it's really brief, really easy, about three questions, I think, that really I'm trying to gauge where you are in terms of hip-hop culture. If you're a hip-hop head, say that you're a hip-hop head. If you're not, let me know that too. And answer the questions, thoroughly, thoughtfully. Be honest with me. Let me know what's going on in your head in terms of the topic. And then the second part of that would be to sign up for which due date you want your critical analysis due, right? The Nerdy Hip Hop Review. So that's on Google Docs, and that's also available on D2L. So 2 assignments, 2 brief assignments, and then, of course, you have the readings that'll be due for our first meeting next week. I am very excited about this class. I look forward to meeting you all in person. And again, if you have any questions before our next meeting, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to talk with you and chop it up about the expectations for the course. If this was your first and last class, best wishes for a productive semester. If this is your first class and you ready to get to work and put in work, I'm ready to meet you, and I'll holler at y'all next week. Be easy.